Exciting. Digital rehabilitation is a theme that we quite intentionally chose for this event because what we have observed, and again I won't sort of dwell on COVID, but it certainly made things go faster. What we have observed is that being used in the right way, a fantastic enabler right across the whole spectrum of corrections, from security through to health services, in making the work of our correctional professionals a lot more meaningful, a lot easier, and enable a lot more things to actually be done than we ever thought we would be able to do in the past.
We have 64 countries representatives here. We have experts, academicians. And here, all together, we are going to share our experiences and we will discuss how we can develop our criminal justice systems in line with human rights. We will discuss how we will protect our societies, our people, from crimes and criminals. And therefore, I believe that all these discussions will be very valuable.
Fighting drugs is a classical challenge for prison systems. So we are going to go deep into that, and we're going to talk about technology in fighting drugs, and we're going to have a presentation from Singapore about how we can use virtual reality, how we can use technology as a part of the treatment programs for the single inmates.
And domestic violence, and more generally all violences in the family setting, appeared to be one of the most prominent issues in France. It's a very big issue in public policies. So we came with this idea of developing a virtual reality film that would be useful to manage our domestic violence offenders.
Technology is rapidly advancing the society, which is a challenge for prison systems to keep up with the development. EU member states aren't uniform in their stages of introducing ICT in their prison systems, but countries at various stages of ICT integration can learn from each other. Different countries also have different economic resources, technological infrastructure, policy priorities, and legislation. The application of ICT in existing prison infrastructure and into completely new prison facilities is different.
In 2018, we started to introduce in-cell telephony for the sentenced prisoners. Before, they had only one telephone in a corridor for an average of 30 prisoners. So this gave them the opportunity to call their family whenever they wanted to call it. And the feedback from the guards was extremely positive because they said that the prisoners seemed much more relaxed. The biggest problem here was that the only connection that we had to the cells was the coax TV network, and so we had to find a solution to go over this network. We were looking for a wireless solution, but that would have been more costly than the cabled solutions.
You know, every great project starts with a conversation. So our conversation with Pima County was what do they want? What do they need? And the biggest challenge that they had was how can they provide services to inmates, to those in custody. We were able to provide connectivity. What this really did is allow them to do everything from coursework to filling out forms, reading books, communicating with staff, and things like that.
So designing for rehabilitation, to summarize, it's about a lot of things. It's about, at the strategic level maybe, it's about what we need to do to assure legal and human rights, to education, to work, to access information. This has changed, and the way we support those human rights is changing now with the digital society. It's about what we can do to address each of the 5 realms I just mentioned. Another aspect which is not on those 5 realms, it's also the fact that the prison life, what we can do with the technology to support people and to improve the living conditions of people in prison, and also maybe to empower them and to normalize that environment more. I think it's completely insane to give every inmate and wide cohort of population in your prisons the same access to the same services. It's not appropriate. Think about bringing a digital service for everyone the same. We will never sort it out because always we set the standards on the most risky inmates. It's really important to make things meaningful.
Digital rehabilitation happens in very nuanced and different context. So the different jurisdictions have different practices, the way in which they're organised.
We've talked about digital rehabilitation, but there's also the rehabilitation of digital, if I could put it that way.
Yeah.
And I think we heard throughout this conference that we can do digital, and we need to do digital in a different way to engage more strongly with people with lived experience, and having those conversations so that we better understand what it is that we're applying digital to resolve. So I think there's also that opportunity for us as technologists to start to think about how we can do digital better in supporting rehabilitation through digital.
Digital rehabilitation, the theme, was so well chosen because I think it was demonstrated that it is real, it has opportunity to grow and to actually, and just listening to the colleagues before at the closing discussion, now there are some real opportunities to enhance the effectiveness of what we're doing in prisons and in the community through smart use of digital supports and enablers to actually bring services and manage services in a far more effective way.
What else is happening all around the world, and from different levels of growth, how we can learn together and improve our correctional practice through technology has been fantastic to hear about. How our technology, how our work as corrections practitioners can improve the lives of individuals in custody, in the community, and their families as well. And I think